Right. Yenye, the legends. Yenye Abano. Of course, it's time. Our favorite show so inside the teams.
Centre circle this time. It goes Jacko!
Right, yeah, the legends. And then so you're about being inside the game of favorite show our channel is so nana and some more papa. One some shit to moi na just Real Madrid for na just United to no. But they do next week. We say a sign at the for a brown na story near different. And one was I go for hey yale. Well, UEFA Champions League in some more. If you some people now were they brought inside the game. So my name is super scorer Guadada, Mr. Ivan Sapon, and of course Mr. Lawrence. Yes, and yet Lawrence Ajatete. Yeah, Lawrence, yeah. Girl and friend, law. Evan. Want to say man and friend in law. I'm on friend Lawrence.
I'm friend Law. The guy for the B, Roman for the B. Father Lawrence. Now Maba one woman, Father Law.
Yeah.
Father Law.
Yeah.
And a sister B, who's not friend Laurentia. But no, a friend Lolo. Aye. So it's already Nigeria movies now. Your friend him Lolo. It will not the Laurentiano. And to me, confident Lawrence dear. You also Lolo, sister Lolo, Father Law.
What's away be money low?
Lolo.
Okay.
Oh, at the second comfort,
Qualified.
How can you call somebody Connie? Just a grab.
Connie no.
Metiana BBI.
So Obi a Connie.
Comfort. Connie.
Obi like a COM. Com. I feel like a Connie. Ghana the tinye bibia
me dwe ho a
Ghana to was serious guarantee now comfort na any Connie anti
okay Matias ene mai yare kra yare na double biba ene just yare na double
sa gangali gang leader and I gangali am say no Ghana bet me to din bia anything na to ba ku bi din or the Rose Kotopino obusmo di aduane gale the fra fan you got
e bia no na man ne honhom ne ba but sa honhom no be ba next week or El Estadio Santiago Bernabéu osia if UEFA Champions League won e basa no a e bi ehom last dada me hu how Dortmund be back Dortmund come back the bed well Gina show ho hey sister chama and na moye ohorom we be bring na na aje gware bro we say conversation more no be around the Champions League Aston Villa ko Jashan Hoboko Park the Prince and of course Bayern Munich as well Jashan Hoboko ofie it amade na say shape up kakra but never say never until say the second leg na wie no untimi nka say na akoya na say na akoya me dey cage one nkasa Eric Asiedu boade me mo akwa me can introduce me guest Lawrence and of course Mr. Evans Kwabena Sapon say man kan say on pe but ye ko school no ke wit kan Sapon Evans Asiedu Eric law odi na ke kan say Bedu Lawrence but the uni brofudin a
we Ghana high pollution of education system no be any. Nipa no abroni na yes esua no. Wa catch us away your first name. The first name no boy no answer no wa be boss say name.
Ono yo
Evans
different.
Oh, enti obi enu obeka say Mr. Evans Sapon. That be Evans Kwabena Sapon. Eric Asiedu Bodi. O de tie ni de na Sapon Kwabena even. What say bibia? Enya de. Na so register ti. Your school say na Bible no start here free A. Asiedu Eric. Now very ambassador.
Na first no na ka woni brofudin so na fancy wo de wo crack that na man say kwesi asiedu a
yeah
if your friend kwesi asiedu but oko school and bro for ni
asiedu kwesi so I don't be no me dey kwaku jebi a ne papa ye hene e o mampon e no ba fi no say me ba no oni jebi kwaku o di kwaku jebi wu a ne ma mi kro be di ade o
jebi kwaku
David
and bro for din no
but say kwaku jebi
interesting you go through the results by in the Champions League Tuesday and Wednesday. All the games were massive, top games. Lord, let's just say a few. Which of the results now shock you?
Make I say Real Madrid ni Arsenal na shock me main candidate because we heading into the game we both squad available Emma teams now to me say Madrid come here say or advantage kakra so oko wi ase na waje miensa nkwa ne guna tene mu na ucho we ni hwe bebie ne ntwa but for Madrid fans ne omo players in the SFM kakra because almost ako Spain but I mean the results on the day in the very shocking to everybody.
Shocking.
Yeah, very shocking. Wow. Very shocking. Especially when Arsenal na the performances of Premier League na that I mean almost drop a point bi and was almost dropping na osan Everton ko boy osan drop a point na we hwe nim say e bia Madrid anka Valencia hye no anka game we di anka be
step here.
So anka ba ne sa na o hwe bo mo boy kra sani a omombo as a team krada aje individual brilliance bi ambe mu a na omuti ekeka ne sa na koye ya omutumi je in fact meka say meka ateta kra coach be 5-0 but ko 20 omudi trepe
but even the one shock you
I think it will be the same fixture. Real Madrid
Arsenal. But Bayern so tonight feel lose you.
And there's some medical show is so me say obi bia o hwe a o follow yen bia nim say be yenye perfect but because of say the bia ye devote to e homa say follow game nti no sometimes in some can ebam and even me kai said during commentaries no metima catch us say nipa sumasi say changing 80 minutes nipa results we obetimi nipa we be so all of these things e ade na ehu a ebeba look me out of these 4 matches me catch us say ye teams on be qualify o my exercise no me catch us say Barca be qualify ahead of Dortmund.
Okay.
Me catch us say Real Madrid qualify over Arsenal, but your historical antecedent be or ebetime repeating on. And I me catch us say Inter mom senke kan e buy na so eden or qualify over Inter due to history, due to even the team no omo pedigree about no competition no omo bono. But this particular Inter team no omo coach no Simone Inzaghi only compare Vincent Kompany o san hwe omo squad depth no omo every department be omo not less than 2 backups omo yeden omo so that should tell you say omo no what you say omo qualify me catch us even going to Alliance Arena no omo betimi akwhwe omo and am say ma so say Paris Saint-Germain and for won say no English oppositions and the last 3 competitions are omo ball Champions League ni mu a campaigns omo ball no mu now so ni nyina English sides and eliminate omo free the knockout stages you know this time after that elimination of Liverpool you know definitely they walk over Aston Villa but it will not be easy but enura the ekoye no kwampo chese bibia befo e de ama Paris Saint-Germain Luis Enrique Martinez Garcia one the boys you know adwuma ho no so I think the only shocking result was Real Madrid and that of Arsenal and it bound down to one fact say already edit the Don Carlo Michel Ancelotti Cavalieri eduru ba bia na ne tactics no em say akọ bankruptcy and answer me fan say sabbatical leave.
Well, then you're bad day in the office. Sometimes, obetime the office so you be about.
Yes, a bad day. Eriko, ni, na Lawrence catch on. What ko bo ofie. Sa ba bi a wo kan ya, wo di ka se Champions League mu Banabawi. Atroma Valencia ba be she no. You already know what is at stake between winning Barcelona, who arch rivals in terms of the La Liga. Yeah. And then many person here then. And all results no e buy answer no the game. And you saw how Real Madrid for no e kwampo di bu amoma 1-1 e de e buy. But no no money abre amoma che Dortmund na gu mani mu ase. And no man anticipate man anim. Omu ye no Eriko ma na so o. Omu so omu se be boabo omu ama chenada omu go training against early Hannes. So what is at stake for Real Madrid? Abre we lose against Valencia. It should have been a wake up call. Most especially so unim say team now won the kobo Arsenal no. We di kan yama dey bia ko ni pen 2006. You do amanfo so ane akai anom. You had no purpose. You had no better game plan. Which means one master game plan be the Kwakobo and the Ateta. And I look at the kind of substitution, the time, the substitution, even the starting lineup, no, the Uramu, and the kind of, what I say, it tells you, say, Owura na Dindi Ancelotti, he got it all wrong. The kind of air system, I know the room, whether all attack, all defense, whether Arsenal kobo high pressing, and Arsenal kobo low block, Arsenal, it all went wrong. And the team no mere purposeful, the better team no many abreno. Arteta was coaching Arsenal, and they were able to climax, what do you call it, clinch the game, no, and so over Real Madrid.
Wow.
You was Serbia, the Rema Arteta, not Ancelotti.
Well, also that particular result, would you say is results, no performance now reflecting results in one now where Arsenal the better side and now more chances to utilize it because sometimes it's you to me game.
Yeah.
Now team now we need here, but we're not the better side that lose it.
Yeah. Sure.
The bit can say results no performance no reflection.
I thought it's a great reflection of the performance because
okay.
we share game in the first half. Real Madrid containing Arsenal very and Real Madrid had moments I was on taking chances. We share Trubo, Bellingham, Demar, Mbappe. On a normal day, Mbappe ebeshe sabo no. Unya Mbappe sanya another one or blasting over the crossbar.
Yeah.
Those were the two moments Real Madrid. Aside those two moments, Arsenal had control of the game. Arsenal kept the game under control and then they maintained possession. But then. Omoba second half no as a Real Madrid really fi sene yebobo. Ehon na Arsenal started so di dwuma because and find Saka more on the ball. It was through Saka and David Alaba FAO no na free kick ne bae. And another one so the same thing. I mean it wasn't Saka but another foul when cause the free kick second free kick Declan Rice we show Declan Rice and the whole career on say free kick that. And so no obo two egum etia goalkeeper bit sekotoa. Mekane say, in the second half, Arsenal were more quicker with the ball. And Real Madrid didn't want the ball. Because already coming into the game, I didn't see any attacking sense.
Okay.
Obi say Rodrigo all season, I mean, he has struggled, but one or two games, importance of Rodrigo, he was lost in the game. Vinicius, always, Obi say, even when his left back, overlapping now, on to me pick out in left back, as in most of the game, or per se, he wants to stand out, but yes, I never ball. But a team performance, but who they be no person would now as someone who wants to stand out there. Funny, sir. Arsenal had a game under control, and big shout out to Thomas Partey because Sam Modford no obose Juankasa.
Some say General Partey.
And many America say anytime Obia watch Madrid matches this season, America chose anytime Real Madrid has played better this season is with Dani Ceballos because he's that kind of player to receive ball, starting build up in this squad. And it's Ancelotti try in as much as possible say Obebol Modric because he needed someone and go best start build up. Modric wasn't going to give you that because he a person from the scratch. Answer now, first recipient of the ball, no, not your president that. Until they were trying to build from
the wings
from wide. Answer now, Rudy got better ball, no, Alaba Kodada. To find him was a struggle, and then you have to come back to Courtois, go to Raul Asensio. Answer now, Bedu Valverde wono. Now he was also occupied. It was the game plan was so off.
They didn't have fire.
Exactly, they were pressing them from. And they were Madrid into BT first press. They went BT first press, where they BT second press. I want to crano young boys and Kwane go mama pay out. And I mean for the game plan, it didn't go to plan. It didn't work out. And then Arteta had a better game plan, better plan going into the game, and then he executed it very well.
Wow. Game and Alaba, so injury by and chair. I mean, the choice of Alaba when you had a Frank Garcia. A much younger player with me as you leave him on the bench. Evans. I don't guess it. Then you introduce him around what time? Yeah, Bob Bond is that time I jig on cry. Yeah. And you saw say Ebia Cavavadi con anymore. And Quebec. Yeah. Alaba so into me at the end. I said bits and pieces of them will bring Real Madrid their message.
So that is the reason why I told you, say Dindi Ancelotti, he got it all wrong in terms of the starting lineup. The materials there, Eriko, me no unya na ye commentary no wa sempa. Mra ye kopie mo Bermuda Lounge. I told you say lineup now me predict your sports night so say Arsenal the be adwuma no. That is what Arteta used because ahead of this particular game, you could clearly see the return of Bukayo Saka no AD Bobo covers Arsenal more because in terms of creation of big chances, the guy is there. About in the take-ons, about in the skill sets, about in the way I see a pacey. I'll bet me most especially Alaba now, or left back now. So that position, knowing perfectly well, say you are having a player, a threat of a player, Bukayo Saka the only player who bet me used to have in the absence of Fellow Mendia, not on your feet, so we game Nibino was Frank Garcia. Because you need a player, in terms of transition, progression. Say, yeah, build up, now you use that particular left flank corner, and the aquarium, a banner supplies, cuttings, incursions, and then put a banner crosses, obey me, cancer or forward line now. A branch of Frank Garcia would have done it better than a branch of David Alaba. Knowing well, say, a branch nowadays. Where you see more as a center half, as a center back.
Yes.
Obia on one. Though those days are not body my biomedical. We used to know Alaba say South also Davis position now bono on an elbow. Say and then a bass ball left back now. Alaba used to run. He was that pace.
As I say when
injuries are hano. As any age in Ankasa injuries are to the extent say Sabi who we player who could anterior crucial ligament injury. And you like is obeying now best of form at this particular age now. Alaba it will be a source of brand to me more runs. This is a game. You are playing against Arsenal team. That pace like more pressing. Okay. So Ancelotti, if you look at that position of Federico Valverde, right back, you had the return of Lucas Vasquez. Now, you could have used the guy there. The reason why you used Luka Modric in the game,
maybe he seems in games teams exploit Vasquez.
Almost exploit, but against Manchester City, you also what Vasquez did. And Vasquez at time Federico Valverde, at some point in time, he introduced Federico Valverde in some of the matches. I'm about the ball, you can say right back. No, boy, in terms of the supplies, in terms of the build up, right flank corner, right wings. No, boy. It's not at this game all on quantity, you know. Then you allow a branch of Federico Valverde to forward. Then along with that is Luka Modric, and then maybe Camavinga will be that holding midfielder. If you not use Camavinga, but you use Modric because of the stats, our Champions League this season about the defensive breaking line passes are waiting because he's the player almost. And so competition this season. It's not here so about game with this experience. Watch okay, the most successful player in terms of trophies won. Real Madrid history and the about competition be say our body to Arsenal. And time ko ye man Unisha our competition mu a. Bema branch na babebo. But the and our kobo Alaba o abra o san Camavinga and ebo etu be bisa say Alaba kwa. When e ba be cover no. Who was the one player na nke duru ona say Vinicius Junior and so eba akira obeba mo dia kwa try so be run. Alaba na obetima ese aduma na Rodrigo so eduru ho na say ye ka say Federico Valverde ye nya nim say more offensive etu so ba ho na be ba be cover no enso so right back ho. These are things that Owura no getting wrong. Look at ye ka say Arsenal team omniko shia ye can say Real Madrid from goalkeeping department our Raya ho no oba benya Timber Saliba Cavell and then Lewis Skelly. These are players are only young players. Energy no ho. It is all ye bia ye can say winger. Now so be obetimi abomodi etimeli froge omo a so be say Luis Kelly. The only thing that Rodrigo don go betimi ayi say the omidi yetiti at Manchester City no omi na is all attack all defense na no abomodi afa player no ne ho na wakwa kwesi nechi because ebi ombe nya space bi ho na nkoma exploit challenge. But Luis Kelly muso de omi ye cautious omi ye mindful of that space na omi de ba be ma no it is a bi omo build ya nya de anka Rudiger de ni bi a obense players ni nyina ekọ na onsusu de akire ekọ we mu de obense na omo tete entente no
we mu the threats are so no betimi akọ
but as it is a base bi a counter there obense Luis Kelly they run quick no about be then no about crosses so all of these things ekọ edit here Real Madrid Merico midi base no team no your friends Arsenal no they were better because they had a balanced team eba no left side there omunya 32% in terms of say omoye den omo yusu ho e the create chances akọ mani eba no midfield so omunya 32% and na right side so omunya 36%. So you could clearly see say they were using Alaba ho no more but then the midfield and the left back and the left side no the same thing happened. Because I want to say aside that from Erico, you me say I want to say Ebano you kind of saying distance cover that Real Madrid cover saying Arsenal cover 113.9 whilst Real Madrid cover 101.2. What team say much? You read yellow cards.
But from what you're saying, it means Arsenal.
Real Madrid is 2, Arsenal the 1, and I read that Real Madrid Sanko the 1. Two teams again. Arsenal for out to play Real Madrid, omo out to classy, omo ye be beer the Real Madrid da, and also Mateta. It win a trip.
Well, I better check whether or not Real Madrid can come.
And
I've heard a second
leg. I've
heard a second leg. Interestingly, Declan Rice said the set piece coach catch and say onye ni say one.
Yeah.
The on one. And
fire.
I mean,
so buka Osaka
I'm
catch
so
yeah.
but you share the other games so then later on about whether be able to me change here. And one team I feel this season as a lack kakra one fan a lot PSG or Aston Villa above Villa by 3-1. Aston Villa take a lead no and they had to come back. Beautiful goals.
Yeah, but Eric Kuka say lack Edinechia because they are showing the effort of whatever has gone into.
Well, in the Champions League you need luck too. They are
yes,
doing well.
but
how they came back against Liverpool and against Aston Villa.
It was a performance they have worked for. I idea because yesterday me idea na me for and no born who said the fact say when one of Dembele and Due Osanko Bonine Obiang Bonine into space for your centre back so be deny it in Due any Kwaraskelia and I'm left wing ho into we a centre back when he say in the first place we will be our market and then it was good to see say 2 of the goals came from the left flank into we should be to say Luis Enrique project our building from the defense to the midfield to the attack now they have a clear intent the way on person in the past they want PSG to parade a lot of stars and then they want to feed the stars but then this particular team no oja bibiama the players to do it among themselves and then omunim when to pass the ball when to cross the ball when to take on your marker and then ayejuma momo Aston Villa and shock me because I mean ukobo PSG side every time or Champions League knockout phases there's a probability say you feel inferior. When they took the lead, me Aston Villa or Sanka, I mean experienced players in the woman kakana because this is team on bet you are punished on any day and won't ball England, won't ball France. So you need to tread cautiously. Mistakes be given away. And a ban is energetic need pace now almost saying ebi our front line between the Jumama but our back line no and yeah our front line be back it's 3 more times e be defend it and any idea moment we and because and can be especially obi to say United Emirates work with PSG pe what it takes to play in a French environment you know and no ma be say e be back into consideration but after taking the lead no moment me anya ne sa na me feel say me who say PSG wrap up time especially with Mendes going there by any wrap up time because England normal cohort this season and even to a more intimidating atmosphere like Anfield as we could results so me that say Aston Villa to me I mean attending around Taiwi.
Well, but that results then you're shocking 3-1 coming back
not at all.
And Kolankola Due Mune na good what is a goal come on. Barca dem ze me yen kan wasem bebre.
FC Barcelona.
Only Dortmund. I mean,
unse ade no
total dominance.
History na keep on repeating itself. Cause first of all Barcelona enya dia so ni Dortmund shia ehun the man. Yesterday match in the entire history happens to be the 6th game now mobile. And in the Champions League now 3rd time on Mushia.
Actually the 4th.
That in the 4th time on Mushia because they had already met 2 times and something last time campaign so if you look at this 6th meeting now also between you can say Dortmund and Barcelona now almost our coach in the person of Hansi Flick all 100% record against them from time and now both domestically or Bundesliga anymore or coach Dima Bayern Munich no and now they are say team
na be FIFA
it's not be FIFA besides we are talking about Barcelona team all hot form or players are almost share left and right. Look at Rafael Beloli Diaz and he wasn't only scoring, he was providing 2 assists. That is what he did. He provided 2 assists. Look at young wonder kid, Lamine Yamal Nazra Ibana. And yes, be a record, say Obabe, the youngest player in the knockout stages of the Champions League. Ultimately go at the age of 17 and then 241 days against Benfica. But this is a player, Osamba back, go. And he also provided assist inside the game. And look at how he take on players. Look at that effort now. Ultimately, like go no share. He did it effortless. As a and share that on like ball now or quad the shower goalkeeper. So when you have these materials, these arsenals, now body Borussia Dortmund, Sabi, Omasaki coaches upon coaches. From time I'm coach UEFA Champions League final. Now Eden Terzic, you coach. Nuri Sahin, Ebabe coach. Kofa Bakubi Babe Kete coach before say Niko Kovac Ebebe. Still
so in that first game on boy in a group stage, Nuri Sahin, right?
Nuri Sahin and all your coach. What I say, Omasaki coaches now, no idea. Now about them they repeat no. Abra Barcelona the able home. And if you look at that goal scoring scoring Mr. Daniel scoring gap. It is how if you look at that goal margin, 4 goals. Lewandowski, former player of the years, was a big room. And now about him. So the new player or can be a new player so much goals. Or 3, you can say different 10 plus goals in the competition. You know, a brand, I be or Dortmund, or Bayern, and now at Barcelona, he's done it once again. So it will tell you it's an experience. And as I saw go, no, at some point in time, no Olympic, that's all firm. And I told Eric during commentary position, say, Eric, this guy, he needs not to be substituted. The experience in terms of some more goals. No, they are widening on gap, no chances, you know. Some could pay more signal do now. Umbenya Kwako, we do man a drew on us a Dortmund, Beshe Tuni Okra, FC Barcelona, were qualified that.
From start, it was a mismatch.
Of course. So that is the reason why I told you, say, teams now not qualify or beside, you know. I told you, say, Barcelona, they will walk over Dortmund, and no, American actually prefer, say, Nyawa, you kun, Unya or Wasuna, say, Ukuna, one Trinity, and ye, to Omina chef first who goes now. And Lewandowski ba kope so and na yama ewie adwuma
right Lord I share the entire Bayern game and Vincent Company then when I want to just say what if you me be no me Lautaro Martinez masterclass and so I say Inter swatch intent sa feel many abre person ko another final.
Yeah, Mecca said that was the most interesting game from 4 matches taking place in we share the balance of the game on both sides because at some point, you know, it was as if Germany for the person went to Italy for a good defense. And so Obi onim na dia dia nya wona
Grandmasters. Asem wa ase abrofo ntade.
On say entire team here omo very good with transitions. It is one of the assets Simeone Inzaghi the Abeka team ni previously they lacked.
Okay.
And it is working for them because we share first goal no mo say Lautaro Martinez goal now. You look at maybe a PK ball no. A sunny ball in the left back no and then made the run and for Thuram to recognize say Lautaro Martinez Edinichi so he just had to backheel it for him and then the technique to place that ball was so good. And idea Obia Nebeye. So that is one asset of Inter Milan. And then how to contain and empower pressure on the position. So another thing.
Yeah.
It was all working for Bayern Omoteka. And then the loss in focus because what's to Michel go 85th minute now 87th minute.
Really?
Just 2 minutes after watching Yasan de Bakwape also then it was something that was going wrong. And made the Makase Abrante company no he needs a bit of experience because I thought Bayern job about too early for him.
Almost of him
for in terms of but in say Bayern the Bundesliga now even sometimes some 10 games to go can not more wrapping up. Our Champions League we are not seeing that against Celtic Ekade and Kombe free man now come extra time and a bit to me like attorney bit to me at home and so Alphonso Davies to me say go over to me you excuses me to say be Alphonso Davies anyhow and Jamal Musiala because they were finding it very difficult to the sense also about Abrante Guerrero Guerrero is good but he's not that kind of player who take you on players. He's not that kind of player who has the vision to pinpoint your striker or pinpoint your winger and then play that tailor-made passes into them. Guerrero sometimes with shots be some unexpected actions be but Inter defense one they carry experience.
Yes.
One they close you down very easy into when it's techniques they be and that was the case of Bayern Munich. I mean going into the game me say it's going to be difficult because Inter team any team at that form and a Bayern team attacking wise they have been there but then any attacking team a bit to me Inter Milan because when who Inter against a sharp attack me to me AC Milan. Almost as many goals as Bayern, but AC Milan team very attacking, very sharp in terms of attack. When we against a team like Fiorentina, this is one of the best footballs. When we against Atalanta this season, they are also up there. And going into the game, I say Inter will be very difficult to position for Bayern. And it is what happened. I'm not surprised with the results that came in because I expected Inter to use their transitional play to get the results.
Even
our
Bayern back
yeah.
Wow. And I tell you, but you ever heard how the second leg? My more prediction on the second leg, though. Because yes, results are finishing. We train inside the game, and I best show say or comments and so I don't hear parts. And other comments, Atalimu asiya my na bibia timi akwa even law na Evans na agware somebody back Jordan Kasani Eric Asidu body. Can Real Madrid come back, Evans?
Real Madrid can do the do. Real Madrid.
It's not done.
And you're done, but they can do the do. Said that Real Madrid can do the do. Because competition no sebi abakọ sebe ne say one dia na no mu yet what to obefi say o mu eden Manchester City omu wiwi omu na omkọje Apollo 15 against then time Edintegis Borussia Dortmund and that final no that 2-0 na e buy no who thought it could have come that way
and they did it
Dortmund entimi shego
was the last season against Chelsea and Man City now
yes eti ade no ombetimi aye ba no kwasem ne say team na make us on any kwakushi here Arsenal no Eriku ye ni no krema ye ho Real Madrid are they ready say ombaba besisa said ye eni no status quo ni tie ahead of this game abra game na ye witness wo Emirates Stadium no game plan we reference Ancelotti di kom no eni amomo are they going to field in players on ball carriers ball progressors on betime create defensive splitting passes. Players are on me allocate on play. I'm calculated, tailored, measured passes. At the room anymore. I'm on players also I purposeful. I have some into the goal post of the what you call Arsenal, the Gunners. Look at Vinicius Junior. In the first leg, he was missing in the game. During the first half, balls are only it was as if there was nothing at stake for him. There was no sense of urgency. Look at that pass. You can say that counter break we nearby. Or ball no so sa. Eduru wana or pass ball no ewuremu. Edi ama Mbappe no. Or the outside in the foot and an elbow. As if say na branch tell say baby all corner as or born say keke krempo e be ko do Mbappe. Meanwhile there was another defender of Arsenal who was trying to close it up. Close the gap. Emma ball no. So what was Vinicius doing? Look at Rodrigo. Game he was just a mere passenger in the game against Arsenal. So if they are going to win this game, I mean, comebacks upon comebacks, like Real Madrid, they've done it in history. You Real Madrid pay you. Real Madrid they bet me.
It says you're right in Real Madrid.
That be Real Madrid. They say right to a
more. You think you can come back?
Bet me come back, but me patch says bet me back. Yeah, come back.
Wow.
Come back in your way.
Lord, Arsenal bet now after taking this massive lead, how could feel more about?
Eric, there's only one place to start. If Arsenal able to survive the game they will need to survive the first 15 minutes.
First 50?
First 15 minutes.
15.
Because Real Madrid will come blazing from the very blast of the...
there's some big judge Arsenal.
To say, Senior Atletico the game into Real Madrid. From the very first blast of the whistle, they'll start attacking. They were very conservative at the Emirates because Ancelotti didn't want to take chances. But then again, at the Bernabeu, they have the full support of... And teams that they have come into the Bernabeu with so many strong mentalities. And then the very moment they concede one, the mentality died down. Some seasons ago against Manchester City, we all thought the game was done and gone until one Rodrigo came off the bench. And then scores, and then the whole Manchester City team are in 5 and 6.
Charlie.
They're in 5s and 6s. And then, what person will share mentality of Manchester City team? And there was a team, no more boy do semi-finals pain. More boy do competition in baby pain. Sometimes, I say, call final cry in 2020 and 21 and farm mom. So the mentality was there. This is an Arsenal team, a young team. Do quarterfinals last season. Lose. Call Allianz Arena. And Shegu.
Charlie.
And that was the same Bayern team.
Yes.
Real Madrid, if Real Madrid would have to turn this tie around, it depends on what they will have to do what they will do in the first 15 minutes. And Senior Evans Akano, they will have to find the ball carriers in their game. I was surprised that Abrantes Brahim Diaz in the 84th minute. The game was done and gone. Arsenal a reserve energy. Arsenal a block it.
So Ancelotti got it wrong, like we said earlier.
Very wrong.
It's maybe Benabao being the right. Has selected the right players.
Hopefully.
But you are, like you're saying, Arsenal better survive your first 15
minutes. And I'm thinking, say, he will go into the game playing Frank Garcia ahead of David Alaba.
Charlie.
Because that David Alaba performance we saw was nothing to write home about. It was nothing to write home about. And good thing could be the fact that he could have Dani Ceballos back, and that would be the good thing or the best thing that will happen to Real Madrid.
It's such a high-profile game with injury ban or they could
I mean, he will try to give him minutes against Alaves. And then once he get minutes against Alaves, me sure say if it will be a starting point to build his fitness. And Dani Ceballos, as we know, he's already know Waba ahead of time. So it will be about managing the minutes. Once he gets minutes against Alaves, he will risk it because he need the results. And then if you need the results, it means starting better. Starting having a player who can start to build up now. And anytime they have played well is when they have started on a build up from the back. And that player that has done it for them so many times, Dani Ceballos. And now Fene better than the ball. So
Madrid beats my back.
But Real
Madrid beats me back.
Yes, now. And then maybe that's you ask now by your train, will be me and say it was how many be UFM
Champions League.
Base your spa.
Champions League.
Well, you call it a different game because I have Madrid.
Now I wanted to give you the reason why I make us a back. Some of the comebacks.
As well, so ask Madrid.
Madrid won.
Now I got
from 1976. Why yes, I know Mario.
And more man.
Omit me, but
a friend saying, pick, Prakuno. Once and was a Praku I want that for.
Yo.
Look for because yes, that's why every Madrid fan of Vim say if Ancelotti gets it right. Now, the right selection.
I like that if Ancelotti gets it right.
Nothing back to the party on a normal day at 3-0.
And the funny thing is, right from the end of the game, and then you start hearing it from the players. Is it possible? It is not over yet. To the extent, say a 21-year-old Raul Asensio who is playing in his debut season with Real Madrid tells you, say, if there is any team that can do it,
it is Real Madrid,
and it is at the Bernabeu.
My goodness,
it is they will eat into your head, and if you are not careful, those words will be haunting you.
Then we are moving. Then we are moving. Then we are moving.
Now, how many you know?
So, you say, I want Evans them was the Ura of Ahonja. Evans them were a Kuneni. We are the Abertan Panas.
Nancy, my video be. Lady Vinny Brewer say, you're a bad boy. Why don't you have a chain in your room? I say you and I know what you want.
That's all.
Why don't you lie down?
And Patterson are better first. I'm not man easy. Nya fe na move the hambetra. The boy ya pin.
Directors and to ba mi dem one no him say Rosary and e kwa kwose e kosu. How nyina that be uko abonto say me wo otters mi dem o ba ho aye nyina kwa ni mu ni abompa ya so afre nyame.
What an impact. What an impact.
Oh me dem wo.
Hwia kai.
Ota esi mpa no esi ya bia ana me mo Mary esi ho ana me mo me cross esi ho etim Rosary de oba bi ho a wo so betimi ade e de bia sen e bompa ya che nyankopon
ne Roman father e kwa wontimi anya so betra no hunu na sa okwa 6 months pe no dwane se me ko enti odwane ya da kro be mo kitchen
me come mejo seminary na mantimi anyem nya se mantimi anwie o mi ami jai mi ana me yes
na wajai
etim abafie ana ma ba ensem twere dwuma mi ye enya boni nyame adwuma na bia na ye no me levite amanfo na hwe me enti me ye nyame adwuma in the name of God the Father and the Holy Spirit.
Hallelujah.
Amen.
All right. Then I say Aston Villa ye na otumi over tennis adie and na hode no match nti ade na ejigo.
Well, I think Aston Villa they can also do it. We need not to write them off. Because one of the reasons why I make us say history, make come say about
quality.
And I Kenya no say. Enya dia Aston Villa bobuko no ya omo body tia French opposition most especially away ya efa de and this season cry hu ye say BC against Monaco. Eti nya say bia eyade ehu. But against Paris Saint-Germain, himself Luis Enrique Martinez. All squad that one now you know all attackers that desire to do talk of Ousmane Dembele, talk of Obitise, the Bradley Bacoles, talk of Obitise, Kicha Kwanashkelia, all of these players are sharp. What you say compared to Marcus Rashford, compared to Marco Asensio, who has been a former player of years. What you say coming with a bunch of experience from Real Madrid, our tasty all Champions League, and then Obi also to say Rogers, also a decay a ball go no, and of course more Oli Watkins and so. But you see, no crap partner say Obo ni fee English fans no omonim say. So Bobo Conference Aston Villa 3 more. Now the Champions League semi-final, we are not going to have any English team anymore. So you have English fans.
Wow.
Aston Villa for a Villa Park. Now Paris and Nama Ultras and free France or Paris. I'll be PM or you can say Park as well, London, Montesua. The only difference that will come into play is say 3,000 fans be. Free France now be primo.
The fans the best Aston Villa.
Already they are the Unemri on him perfectly well. Of all the campaign, and then Oma Remo Champions this season, no matches or man winning and so you can say Villa Park, no a dosu chen away there, no away performance hasn't been bad. But against Paris Saint-Germain, they need and no ya di back or rely on hopes on. And again, they know some more commodity you can say Paris Saint-Germain the first we know. And now they are then Paris Saint-Germain for rashes or bomb so. They try to create, some chances winning at their day. But Aston Villa were quick enough to use a counter break for that goal. Now Rogers here, But after that, you saw Luis Enrique Martinez and the boys. What Nuno Mendes did. That goal, the time they buy.
Right, I think I get the point.
So, Villa Parker. The only year, say. Now cautious defense, but we still look forward. So you see the wings, flanks, no bossy midfield, no. If only Aston Villa bet me the midfielders, with their most experienced captain, John McGinn, and so I don't think it will be difficult for them to be on come back, but maybe on bet by maybe 1-0, bet 2-1. Maybe as well, over 10 years, the aggregate, according to their favor. That is what as a mimi.
Aston Villa best survive.
And non Aminia Evans, they will have to be very cautious of defense. I was just looking at something. When he said Endra boy conceded 27 shots. That defense was open.
Yeah.
And
Martinez, I think 7 saves or so.
I'm finding it difficult to understand because Mentia saying the France now could be Musa. Anka Obia winning a ball winning the attack in the Anka Oka was always low block. But Aston Villa Ambosa and now say I would determine it will be say baby. But I also want to say I will crowd young Anka we are share kakra crowd will be no crowd determine. Now home now baby mutrano and then I want to mean because
I'll be
BMC. Now open so cano uko BMC. Now got to be the anymore.
I made a bad and say on to me. I mean, over 10 time, but
difficult.
They could give it a try. I mean, we are England, we are football, Champions League. Stranger things have happened. Let me read Deportivo La Coruña ne AC Milan tie AC Milan winning 4-1 yeah but Spain almost 40. I mean anything is possible but you have to be realistic. It will be very difficult for Aston Villa.
Now Liverpool crying cardia now more the Barcelona for it
will be difficult. But well, as for comeback, Champions League, and between now and Tuesday, Wednesday, they might be brave, busy.
Sure.
Injuries, mentality, and a whole lot busy. Interesting thing is Arsenal every weekend. My mentality Arsenal because that weekend. Rest the players the rock.
Mikel Arteta, he will not rest them.
Oh, the on you will not rest them
because when say Premier League, when say Liverpool.
No, yes. Aston Villa so the same. Aston Villa so you have a tough game coming.
Tough game.
Aston Villa you rest the players and now one ball now they are bum. Ebe home. Let you sure the can buy money come back.
Me try cast Bayern Munich beat me about me can cry say Bayern Munich
but what could fear question so beat about fear show
enya no cry say obet me akwa kopiem wo Giuseppe Meazza on your kwa ye do aba ebunsam jam jatabuom na ye do aba no enti ho no say subo na ye say boy ye bo With the answer be lem na waja.
What right of mine?
Because 3-5-2 now I can say Simone Inzaghi bono. Now ko boss 4-2-1-3 ni ade no wa. Jack,
What right of buying?
Buying them say Madika can fit it in 3 day. Their parents no.
You know, interesting go for a crowd.
Because I'm trust mu. Bra. Ade ba ko ma sam ne ye ya ne say. Senka ye can squad dev internal. And can be a Bayern Munich squad no. Omutimi nya the right materials like best players now. Usual 11 no.
Yeah.
Talk of Alphonso Davies, Pavlovic, Monomene. You know those players now can be Obo defense say Stanisic, Kim Minjai. Now the Eric Dyer. And that boy you know. Bra. Olu ko body tia chabi mo.
My good.
O ko body tia Bastoni mo. Let's be realistic. Lautaro Martinez on Ochoa or show ye. Unya brante bit say can say or midfield there yeah. Berardi. You know they are not going to Barella, Nicolo Barella. They are not going to leave any store on 10. Chanoglu Giuseppe Meazza playing against their Ultras Italy Monte so above your special 2-1. So Bayern Munich, I think they've been a victim of circumstance. Time here, coach here, novice. Everybody a coach and Chebia 2023 Man City edge Champions League for the first time in their history. Man City Sports Group, president Sheikh Mansour and Yaje Kadum Al Mubarak, Moputo Party, UAE Mountain Sono, and Simone Inzaghi, on the Rantiano, they became a victim of circumstance. This time, time the punish Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich here. Always no Bayern Munich they carry the day. But at this particular moment, you are talking about Simone Inzaghi, the most experienced among the two coaches, all squad depth, all quality, the performance, all the domestic league. Actually, saying Onyawa Obesho.
What if Bayern cause upset?
Bayern Munich cause upset.
Come
and sit down
and eliminate.
They are even having a Achilles heel in a Hurricane. Because Achilles heel, play about trophy Champions League. Nobody can
what's your say Bayern you interview my yanya day.
Meme kwabana sapon ametie yi. Se Bayern Munich etimi che ayi Inter. No mo ya, mitimi ma boy say nyina meyi abetena mama yi se kola pap. Me be ensi da ko ma boy no ehu hia me.
Bayern Inter ye news akura.
Ye yimi anya ma boy say nyina.
Ye be you wa ya.
Haya ye yimi. Nyina mo ko fra adom Yesu adom mra no me yimi. Hey, alive ensi so da because my boy you know it means a lot to me and let me tell you.
Also write your Bayern.
Me write you off, but historically last time I almost share knockout stage in the air was in 2011, and at the end of the day, Inter go through. It will be very difficult for Bayern because once again, the Open Soul Show must start at 6 now. This tournament, for more than half of their games, they have conceded in each of them. Inter have conceded two goals in the whole tournament.
Charlie.
They've conceded 2 goals in the whole tournament. Oh, Inti, we jano emana be say 2-1 wu fie no ni fie no okono we say environment or be brought to the satisfaction of the fans to the satisfaction of the team.
Charlie.
Or bench players on be free ho abe how so omo bra ebia hana company ni Bayern be ko fie because baby edure die
Lawrence amafo kase 2006 final no yetimi aba benya the reincarnation but baby system say 2010 you say Mario dos Santos Felix Mourinho ediba Inter team no kwaje treble no asa fe na omo say ba benya comeback ashe Italy mani nyina ni monyam after Gianpiero Gasperini so Atalanta dey na odi omo ye
yeah nenam no well
what you say
goes a bit to Barcelona a bit to Inter Paris Saint-Germain
seems to say a sewie ama and Simone Inzaghi we did it me say Eric game na be Barcelona
as a final before
forget Bayern and Dortmund
that would be one top
as a final before final
Germany for
me pese Barca dey na yeka na me yanka Barca dey na Dortmund
say I can
nothing to write about.
There's nothing to write about because my catch was
and so you knew tire nwa na
say Dortmund
and you be naked
and yan ka duru amebo a caller e dey abetena
naked mo
there be caller mum na amebo
dey na this dey na this am person naked
Eriko wonura ade a oye mi yen what's am ba say
dey na this say we say e ke bi Dortmund na bibie si na Dortmund
o be for me Abraham su
there be na ka Dortmund na ji Barca film o si enyi uti ba ko na we dey o say ma bot ayi don
dey tell say Dortmund with Misha Barca panya comeback e qualify over Barca me ba we ask me fa me ho say say ba say tena me serious so say ebi nya nsi da betimi de oba tena me serious no bi ehu no
no and no say wona be enjoy that be ye perfect for I be and I be told you so bad you want
what's up now catch am say o de dia na e kire ana o de dia na esie no na nka dia na o de esie
no this year no na say because I say wrong say me for oh my goodness what no yeah say na say there's some magic coming
Shemba.
Hey,
Atmosphere no crane to me say Shemba.
But you see like no more lose.
Yeah.
No. Ghost and dust
Too much.
But why? I don't know about dreams over to the basa boy we beam ne bono kunta bang.
On say ade unye bi that e bed din say obey. Obi ti say Dortmund mean even the game against Real Madrid on mobile group stage sa league phase na what say Real Madrid obi afu say sa tie no still what say bebre no class still obi emu na Real Madrid dey come back the best no enya dey obetumi abo defense na na what lose the best center back in Schlotterberg no
yeah edu amuzi afede no the nuclear sula mo bam afi oyika ni chuku emeka eti bi dey Erico PSG to qualify over Aston Villa, Barcelona to qualify over Dortmund, Inter to qualify over that is Bayern Munich, and then you have Real Madrid. Real Madrid. If all things being equal, per the comebacks or mania, like they did to Manchester City,
all kind of straight.
Me say,
like way to qualify, Real Madrid there. If
Evans mouse circumstances, Real Madrid between
okay.
Eric Crampo na me no start here dey we am me prediction ni na am dey make nyina bam except this game a wow team Real Madrid and na yamani pani magu ase
you bone mu ase
na no man na me catch us say if all things being equal Mbappe on the English side yeah
I've said this on my pages my TikTok right I'm far Arsenal is not a team you can trust. I say, "Oh, Arsenal fan of him."
See Mikel Arteta.
Wait me, obey hear me. I say, "Obey trouble me, but I'm trusting Mikel Arteta."
So I know actually.
Yeah.
Facebook, no.
I'm trusting. My video cry my.
Say it's like then they're giving then to monkeys.
Adrege now. Ena jollof ene kwadu esi ho. Ena wo trust Adrege ni say obe kodi jollof for kwadu.
Emfa. Enya de obey.
Arteta well.
So me am yan kransani. Ni Madrid bia. Be no aduane no. Abetena ho. Ote ho bi ni be no aduane.
Mutumo no aduane bi no.
Be wie ya o se offer mu na mu ja ho offer wo na makwa. Eti jollof no nam de ba chi no obe fa de akọ.
My goodness. It is possible one of the years Madrid defeat Champions League anymore. It's say Madrid are back to back that days or want to be film near that. This is one of the years. But yes, I don't see how Arsenal is going to survive at Bernabeu. Real Madrid fans there.
Me circumstance actually say Real Madrid. If all things been equal,
off style baby. I just Arsenal with your match with dear. Now no Monche Everton. Everton will form. David Moyes has to sign Yamakakra. But looking at what it has taken it, when he's with the opposite we yellow. And that's how we're trying to draw. Rebecca said, I said, Madrid is also what if you ever share. Good.
And you have been a Liverpool to bet on for the Fulham, Asa, Sabi, and yes, I mean, what's on your cock or your good girl. Because Safu will crank having. Tibida say, Real Madrid the way. If all things been equal, one, about 7 chairs say, Arsenal and Ankas or your master. All competition we mu. You see 2006. Two.
But say what about
that be and when one team in the
that be
so
if you
show
the last time share international champions cup and so be say cause e come 2-2 one win penalties no
last west
that be come I mean can see say
ya pon ya time aso
Arsenal mo bibia favor mo say mo na be qualify but Eric Ade na o yen ntino me say come back possible. Okay. Be betting happen. Don't forget to say Mbappe and Rodrigo. Vinicius from person imagine but anything between Mbappe.
If not original and so I don't go there.
But this season was
okay. Last West name.
Eric, make anything different from Nia Evans. I can maybe.
And Arsenal come put defense.
I bet they also bet me about defense for the whole 90 minutes over about because Sena Mekano. So when the pressure see who's and your mistakes be and was all committed, crowd committee. Emirates cry you who be.
Say Aika, Declan Rice say mentality no the ball first leg and no one the couple second leg.
It's no dear
I'm going pinche.
Also,
But no
also
sir, Madrid they concede.
Madrid
Kikina pabia. But who said me who player no and just set piece didn't ever to ho na Alabama ne ko jeje me and me who that striker no be bogum de ma star no te ko basa na wan ko nya the free kick set piece na be be to ye no e ma wan ko share na say open play.
But open play na Mikel Merino aye bono say oye e maje number 9 no
and one can one pay
force maje okoshe
ka one pay dey say kan ye nkasa bi mu but the set pieces no might come but that precision because say uja funya out me bomb you to me maybe if you give me a third time maybe you want me msanya and san kele fan ko shemu za so maybe Arsenal need to work extra hard at the Bernabeu as a come back there. I mean as yes or Madrid could push it to extra time
but I didn't know say game no ye pede be win ya say midfielders of Real Madrid ebetimi come to the party in the first 15 minutes the game will change. The stories are me my instincts tell me minya bibi atinka bi omu say Real Madrid betimi ayaba kwasem bia 2006 ade entimi happen me hu interview all call final of the Champions League ekohia either Paris Saint-Germain or Real Madrid bibi sa na me hu asema maka obi amake interview all call final akohia Real Madrid anase PSG mu ba ko mo dem here
last words ni enko na da.
Eric Evans akanina means me for being count. Say na can Real Madrid dey meet me qualify and one Evans akano.
Midfield. Pate.
Yeah.
Na hon kwa say sa soldier for atade. Ya be chi no.
Na Pate.
Kroma Kasabri ya chi Pate say hon come
obosse me.
Ama ne che nyina ka wan sa ma no. Sabe okwako.
Yaman.
Che.
O kasa to boase. Because law and true asum. Anyeri, what I didn't me out about Hoseka.
Come on, Pate charge.
Right, yanko. And I will be bigger.
Minishika.
Okay.
But
a cheba who count the chain in them. A hat.
A day.
A che.
And a bema be also pehe or pecherishe.
Lawrence Neighbors. Bidin the Kejuan and Kasa. Ever since bye bye.
Centre circle this time. It goes Jacko!